الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين. Praise belongs to Allah, the nurturing Lord of all that exists, and the final determination of affairs will be in favor of the people of piety, and there is no hostility except against the zalimeen, the transgressors. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك الحق المبين. I testify that nothing deserves worship other than Allah. He's alone that right without partners. He is the King of the creation and the manifest truth. أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. I testify that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may Allah raise his honor and ranking and grant him security, is the messenger of Allah. أما بعد, as for what follows, Shaykh Salih Fawzan, he continues, he says, قد تكون لدى بعض الناس أهواء فينتحل أحدهم الجواب عنها لأجل أن يستدل لرغبته وهواه. He said, perhaps there are certain people who have deviant impulses, and on account of their deviant impulses and desires and whims, their whimsical fanaticism, and they formulate an answer, contrive an answer, invent an answer that is in conformity to their raghbah and their hawa, and to their desire, to what they wanted in the first place, and to their impulses. فَيَصْطَنِعُ شَيْئًا مِنَ الْأَقْوَالِ أَوْ الشُّبُهَاتِ لِيُرَوِّجَ بَاطِلَهُ. So the person, he makes up something, he manufactures something of statements or doubts in order to promote the falsehood that he is upon, وَلِيَنْتَصِرَ عَلَى خَصْمِهِ, or in order to be his opponent. وَهَذَا أَيْضًا قَوْلٌ عَلَى اللَّهِ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ. This is another example of people speaking about Allah without knowledge, people twisting, and they say lay a'naq al-nusus, and twisting the necks of the text, and turning the text to make them mean what you want, so on and so forth, even though a person may be saying Allah said or the Prophet said, and what they're saying doesn't apply to what they're applying it to. It doesn't apply to what they're applying it to. And this is the danger of the likes of these people. He says, so this person, in order to formulate a response that is agreement to something that will justify something for him that he wants for himself, and he'll play with the text in this way, or he speak about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in such a way, لِيَنْتَصِرَ عَلَى خَصْمِهِ, to defeat his opponent in debate. وَهَذَا أَيْضًا قَوْلٌ عَلَى اللَّهِ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ, and this is from speaking about Allah without knowledge. وَهَذَا هُوَ حَالُ بَعْضِ الَّذِينَ يَتَجَرَّؤُونَ عَلَى الْفَتْوَى الْآنِ فِي الْفَضَائِيَّاتِ وَفِي الصُّحُفِ دُونَ أن يكون لديهم العلم الكافي الذي يؤهلهم للتصدي لإصدار هذه الفتاوى. He said, and this is the condition of some people today who have their own channels, who make up their own YouTube channels even, or the suhuf. Some people have their own talk shows, lillahi al-ajab, or the suhuf, and in the newspapers, speaking about religious affairs, without having the sufficient amount of knowledge that equips them and makes them suitable for at-tasaddi li-isdari hadhihi al-fatawa, and for promoting themselves or putting themselves forward to issue these rulings, issue these fatawa, these verdicts in the religion. So you see the scholars have all spoken about a particular issue, and then some miskeen individual who spent a couple of years in the Muslim world comes back and he writes a book, and he destroying everything that they've said. And he says, for example, the ikhtilat, free mingling between the sexes, so on and so forth. And this is the world that we live in. This is the world that we live in. And so if we were to prevent our women from going to the university, our wives that want to go to college, and then the college are going to be in a free mixing situation. The scholars have spoken about this issue, and says of a person having the sense of saying, let me process this through the scholars just to make sure that my nata'ij, any of the person's sadiq, if they're genuine, right, that any conclusions that I've reached are correct, and he doesn't even go that far. doesn't even go that far. Fills a book with, and he fills an article with khuzabalat, with foolishness, quoting civil rights activists and Kelly and Kate, not even mentioning the basmala and the hamdallah and the salawat and salam on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? Allahu Akbar. Person comes and they say Black Lives Matter. Yeah, alhamdulillah. I'm not going to say all lives matter. Right? Alhamdulillah. There's a real issue, right? There's a real issue, a very sensitive issue of a history of racism in this country that goes back to the beginning, and to the days of slavery and so on and so forth. It's a terrible thing, right? But a person, they use this emotional catalyst, this thing that people are very realistically watching and thinking about, that's a real day-to-day part of their lives, and they say that al-mudaharat al-silmiyah, that peaceful protesting, and either the fatwa of the scholars that they gave are because the rules in their land forbid peaceful protesting. Ama fi America. As for America, go stand on Broad Street. I don't know what you have there. I'm not an affiliate. Go stand, in front of, City Hall, block off the street, block traffic, so on and so forth, and have your own little peaceful demonstration, so on and so forth. The scholars have spoken for years, and in great detail about quote-unquote peaceful protests, right? And are these from the wasa'il of islah and taghyir? Are these from the things that rectify and correct what is broken and repair the affair, and so on and so forth? Instead of a person being sorted and going and saying, well, to process this through the scholars just to make sure that my understanding is correct. A person, he makes himself mufti al-wara, and he's the mufti of the creation. يَنْقُضُ مَا أَفْتَهْ بِهِ أَهْلُ الْعِلْمِ. And he wants to invalidate everything that the people of knowledge have said about the issue. And he, with طعن مبطن السلفيين وفي مشايخهم, and in his words, put a little, lace it up with a little bit of, hidden, disrespect for the Salafis and the Mashaykh of the Salafiyin. Allahu Akbar. He says the person, he comes without the mu'ahalat, without the skills that he needs, and without the tools that he needs for fatwa, and he issues such fatwa, فَهَؤُلَاءِ فِي خَطَرٍ عَظِيمٍ. And these people are in a tremendously dangerous situation. لأنهم إما أن يكونوا جهالا ليس لديهم رصيد من العلم وإنما يتكلمون بالتخرص، وإما أن يكونوا أصحاب هوى فيقولون ما يوافق أهواءهم بغير دليل ولا برهان. So these people are either complete ignoramuses without having sufficient religious knowledge, but they're just making things up on the spot, and just fabricating things and making things up, or either they're people of desires. They're people who, the truth may be known to them, but it's inconvenient for them. It's an inconvenient truth. The truth may be inconvenient for them, right? And so these people, they say whatever agrees with their desires and harmful impulses without any evidences and without any proof. وَلْيَحْذَرَ الْمُسْلِمُ مِنْ ذَلِكَ وَلَا سِيَّمَا طُلَابَ الْعِلْمِ غَايَةً حَذَرٍ مِنَ الْقَوْلِ عَلَى اللَّهِ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ. Let the Muslim be extremely cautious and careful, especially students of knowledge, from speaking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without knowledge. In the hadith of Aboo Musa al-Ash'ari, meaning the statement of Abu Musa al-Ash'ari attributed to him, مَنْ عَلَّمَهُ اللَّهُ عِلْمًا فَلْيُعَلِّمْهُ النَّاسِ. Whatever Allah has imparted knowledge to, then let him impart it to the people, let him teach it to the people. إذا علمه الله من الكتاب والسنة فلا يجوز له أن يبخل به ويكتمه. And whoever Allah gives him knowledge of the book and the sunnah, is not permissible for him to be stingy with it and conceal it. وإنما عليه أن يعلمه غيره وينشره في الناس. But rather it is upon him to teach it to others and to spread it to the people. فَالنَّاسُ بِحَاجَةٍ إِلَى الْعِلْمِ. That is a well-known statement from Shaykh Muqbil rahimahullah ta'ala, that he used to say, مَنْ لَا يُفِيدُ إِخْوَانُهُ فَلَا بَارَكَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ. مَنْ لَا or يفيد إخوانه فلا بارك الله فيه. The person who doesn't benefit his brothers with what Allah has given him of understanding and knowledge, and may Allah not bless him. And may Allah not bless him. لا يفيد إخوانه فلا بارك الله فيه. Any other person has to know their limitations and their boundaries. Alhamdulillah, look at the scholars, brothers. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. You see in the biographies of the scholars that they spent years. After sitting with their scholars for years, they spent years in their masajid teaching children. They spent years in their masajid teaching children. Right? So a person shouldn't find any type of awada in, whatever is available for him inside of his community. If he's just teaching the people the alphabet, teaching people the Arabic alphabet, teaching people Medina Quran, teaching people some very basic things about Islam, the Qusar al-Suwar, the short surahs at the end of the Quran and something of the sort, it's a tremendous benefit. It's a tremendous benefit. He said, so it is upon the person to teach the others and to spread it to the people. فَالنَّاسْ بِحَاجَةٍ إِلَى الْعِلْمِ. The people have a need, a severe need of knowledge. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He said, وَإِذْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِيثَاقَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ لَتُبَيِّنُنَّهُ لِلنَّاسِ وَلَا تَكْتُمُونَهُ فَنَبَذُوهُ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِهِمْ وَاشْتَرَوْا بِهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا فَبِئْسَ مَا يَشْتَرُونَ. Verse number 187 of Surah Al-Imran. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He said, and recall that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala took a covenant from the recipients of the book, from the recipients of the previous scripture, that you are to clarify it to the people and you are not to conceal it. فَنَبَذُوهُ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِهِمْ. However, they cast it behind their backs. وَاشْتَرَوْا بِهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا. And they exchanged it for a measly price. فَبِئْسَ مَا يَشْتَرُونَ. And how terrible is that which they exchanged the knowledge for. لِأَنَّهُ قَدْ يَكْتُمُ بَعْضُ النَّاسِ الْعِلْمَ لَا يَنْشُرُوهُ. Because some people may conceal knowledge and they may not spread it. إِمَّا مِنْ بَابِ الْكَسَلِ أو لِطَلَبِ الرَّاحَةِ. Either because they are lazy or either because they want to rest. وَهَذَا أَمْرٌ مَضْمُومٌ. And this is something blameworthy. وَإِمَّا يَكُونَ لَهُ هَوًى فَلَا يَقُولُ الْحَقِّ. Or either the person may have some deviant understandings or impulses and he doesn't want to speak the truth because it is against him. But he rather speaks contrary to the truth because it agrees with his desires. And this is both concealing knowledge, a person who does that, who not only refuses to speak the truth, but he speaks contrary to the truth by knowing the truth. He said this person is concealing knowledge and lying upon Allah. وَهَذَا أَعْظَمُ جُرْمًا مِنْ كَتْمِ الْعِلْمِ. I mean, this is a greater crime than concealing knowledge, meaning lying upon Allah. فَالْوَاجِبُ عَلَى الْعَالِمِ أَنْ يُعَلِّمَ غَيْرَهُ مِمَّنْ يَحْتَاجُونَ إِلَى عِلْمِهِ. It's mandatory upon the scholar to teach the people that have need of his knowledge, وَيَنْشُرَهُ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ لِيَسْتَفِيدُوا مِنْ عِلْمِهِ, and to spread it amongst the people so that they can benefit from his knowledge. وَيُؤْجَرُ هُوَ عَلَى ذَلِكَ, and he will be rewarded for that. As a result, وَاللَّهُ لَا يُضِيعُ عَمَلَ عَامِلٍ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not allow the action of any person to be lost. أَمَّا مَنْ لَمْ يُعَلِّمْهُ اللَّهُ فَعَلَيْهِ السُّكُوتُ. As for the one that Allah has not granted knowledge to, then it is for him to be quiet as regards speaking about the affairs that he doesn't know. وَهَذَا هُوَ مَحَلُّ شَاهِدٍ. And this is the point of reference. And مَنْ لَيْسَ عِنْدُهُ عِلْمٍ فَعَلَيْهِ أَنْ يَسْكُتَ وَلَا يُفْتِي وَلَا يُدَرِّسَ النَّاسِ وَهُوَ جَاهِلٌ. As for the one who doesn't have knowledge, he should be silent. He definitely shouldn't give fatwa. He shouldn't teach the people while he is ignorant. فَالْمُصِيبَةُ كُلُّ الْمُصِيبَةِ أَنْ يَتَصَدَّرَ لِلْفَتْوَى وَالتَّدْرِيسَ الجُّحَالُ مِنَ النَّاسِ. It is the greatest calamity, the epitome, the reality, the essence of calamity, that people put themselves forward to give fatwa and teach that are ignorant. Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi, rahmatullahi alayhi, in his book Al-Faqih al-Mutafaqih, he said that Rabi' ibn Abd al-Rahman, rahimahullah ta'ala, who was from the well-known shuyukh of Imam Malik, Rabi' ibn Abd al-Rahman, we call him Rabi'atul Ra'i, rahmatullahi alayhi, that on one occasion he was sitting in the masjid yabki, he was sitting in the masjid weeping. He said, مَا لَكَ أَدَخَلَتْ عَلَيْكَ مُصِيبَةٌ. He said, what is wrong with you? Have you been hit by a calamity? He said, لا ولكن استفتي في الإسلام من لا علم له فدخل في الإسلام أمر عظيم. He said, no, but rather people are being asked for fatwa about Islam that have no knowledge. And something terrible has happened to the Muslims. Something terrible has happened to the Muslims. He said, فَلَا يَنْبَغِي الرُّجُوعُ إِلَى مِثْلِ هَؤُلَاءِ. He said, people that are ignorant in such a way, it is not befitting for them to be referred back to. لِأَنَّ مَنْ رَجَعَ إِلَيْهِمْ كَانَ شَرِيكًا لَهُمْ فِي الْإِثْمِ. Because the person who refers affairs back to them shares with them in sin. وَعَلَى مَنْ يُرِيدُ النَّجَاةَ لِنَفْسِهِ أَنْ يَتَعَلَّمَ قَبْلَ أَنْ يَتَكَلَّمَ. The person who wants to be saved, he wants himself to be saved, then he must learn before he speaks. Allah Ta'ala, Allah exalted be the Most High, said, the verse that we heard in Surah Al-Isra, وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَالْبَصَرَ وَالْفُؤَادَ كُلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. Do not involve yourself in that which you have no knowledge pertaining. Indeed, your hearing, your vision, and your hearts will all be asked about. فالله جل وعلا طلب من نبيه صلى الله عليه وسلم أن يقول. Allah has requested from His Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, or sought from His Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, to say to the people, وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُتَكَلِّفِينَ, Surah Sad, verse number 86, that I am not, tell them that I am not from the mutakallifin. I am not from the mutakallifin. I'm not from the pretenders. I'm not from the pretentious. I'm not from the pretenders. I'm not from those who are acting like something that I am not. فالرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يقول إلا ما يوحى إليه. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم never said anything except for what was revealed to him pertaining to religion. وَمَا يُنَزَّلْ عَلَيْهِ, and that which was وَمَا يُنَزَّلُ عَلَيْهِ, and that which was revealed to him, sent to him. وَلَا يَأْتِي بِشَيْءٍ مِنْ عِنْدِهِ لِأَنَّ هَذَا تَكَلُّفٌ وَهُوَ بَرِيءٌ مِنَ الْمُتَكَلِّفِينَ. And he did not produce anything of his own accord, but rather, and to do so will be takalluf, will be being pretentious, will be pretending something that is not true. وَهُوَ بَرِيءٌ مِنَ الْمُتَكَلِّفِينَ, and the Prophet ﷺ is free of the mutakallifin. This is the description of the companions that was given to Abdullah bin Abbas, or given by Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu anhu. He said, أُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ مُحَمَّدٍ صلى الله عليه وسلم أَبَرُّ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ قُلُوبًا وَعَمَقُهَا عِلْمًا وَأَقَلُّهَا تَكَلُّفًا. These companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah chose to be the companions of your Prophet, and Allah raised his rank and grant him security. And they are the most righteous of the nation they are the most righteous of the nation in heart, the deepest of them in knowledge, and the least of them in takalluf, in pretentiousness and pretending, and being unnatural, and acting like they knew something that they didn't know. So this is something that is found all throughout the text. And mutakallif huwa, the mutakallif, the Shaykh says, huwa man yaqulu ala Allahi bi ghayri ilmin fi umur ad-din. He gives a beautiful definition to the mutakallif, to the pretentious person. The person who is mutakallif, or they say muta'alim, the person who is feigning knowledge. The mutakallif is the person who is speaking about Allah without knowledge pertaining the affairs of religion. ثُمَّ إِنَّهُ قَدْ يَمْرُقُ مِنَ الدِّينِ. And notice how Shaykh Salih Fawzan phrases it here in the statement of Abu Musa, as reported from Abu Musa. He said, فَيَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُتَكَلِّفِينَ فَيَمْرُقَ مِنَ الدِّينِ وَيَمْرُقَ مِنَ الدِّينِ. Let the person not say what he doesn't have knowledge of, lest that he be from the mutakallifin, from the pretentious, from the pretenders, وَيَمْرُقَ مِنَ الدِّينِ, and exit from the religion. So a person, alhamdulillah, the religion, as Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, فَعَلَيْكَ بِالتَّفْصِيلِ وَالتَّبْيِينِ فَإِنَّ الْإِجْمَالَ وَالْعُمُومَ دُونَ بَيَانٍ قَدْ أَفْسَدَ هَذَا الْوُجُودِ. Be as clear as possible. The religion is clear as possible, right? Because generalities have destroyed the world. So a person could take a statement like this, right? They could take something and they could build a castle of takfir upon something like this, right? Say, look, the person who speaks without knowledge, يَمْرُقْ مِنَ الدِّينِ. He doesn't even know if the narration is even authentic. He says this person, by speaking without knowledge, he leaves from the religion, right? And kadhib ala Allah, the scholars, they say, al-kadhib ala Allahi amadan kufrun. And we speak about Allah without knowledge, to lie intentionally upon Allah is disbelief. right? Is disbelief, right? So therefore, a person, formulates that if somebody speaks about, and you see people, Allahu Akbar, you're very, very, reckless. You're being very reckless, and you start al-ahkam, and you're giving rulings to other people, upon other people, and so on and so forth, and these sorts of things, right? So this person has left from Islam. Look what Shaykh Salih Fawzan said when he explained the narration. He said, قَدْ يَمْرُقْ. He said, perhaps this person may leave from the religion. Perhaps, right? Perhaps, maybe, this person may leave from the religion. And it's not a definite that the person who speaks about Allah without knowledge that he leaves from Islam, right? And however, it's possible that this person, this is the sort of thing, because this is what kufr is built upon. And he's lying upon Allah intentionally is what kufr is built upon. Right? So it's a very, very serious affair. You have a question?
No, you explain it.
Tell you, inshallah. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari said, فَيَجْرَعُ, or Shaykh Salih Fawzan, he said, كَمَا قال Abu Musa, as Abu Musa said, a person will exit from the religion. He will exit from the religion. And where is this, what hadith is this word found in Yamruq? Who are the Mariqi? The Khawarij, right? يَمْرُقُونَ مِنَ الدِّينِ كَمَا يَمْرُقُ السَّحْمُ عَلَى الرَّمِيِّ, right? Exit from the religion, exit through the religion like an arrow passes through its prey, right? Like, what did Allah say about, what did the Prophet rather Sallallahu say about the Khawarij? That they recite the Quran and what?
Exit from the religion like an
Won't
arrow.
go past their collarbones, right? Scholars, they say, meaning it won't penetrate into their hearts, it'll be in their tongues and they won't understand what they're saying. Right? So they'll apply the Quran where it doesn't apply. Right? They'll apply the Quran where it doesn't apply. So the person who does like this, قَدْ يَمْرُقْ مِنَ الدِّينِ. Right? This narration is from a number of narrations that indicate the takfir of the Khawarij, that their Islam is suspect at best. Their Islam is suspect at best. And what could you say, especially in these times when you see the calamities and horrible crimes that are committed by them, Allahu musta'an. Whatever the case, we're not going to be able to cover all of this. We'll skip forward a little bit to the speech of the Shaykh on the hadith of Abdullah ibn Amr, where the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the knowledge will not be taken by Allah tabarak wa ta'ala intiza'an yantazi'uhu min sudur al-rijal, that Allah will not snatch knowledge from the hearts of the creation. But rather knowledge is taken بِمَوْتِ الْعُلَمَاء, by the death of the scholars. Umar radiallahu anhu said, مَوْتُ الْعَالِمْ ظُلْمَةٌ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ لَا يَسُدُّهَا شَيْءٌ إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ. But the death of a scholar is a calamity, is a gaping hole made in Islam that will not be repaired until the day of judgment. Right? And so the affair is very serious. The affair is very, very serious. Alhamdulillah, taking advantage is from the rights that the scholars mentioned. The scholars, when they wrote about the huquq al-ulama, the rights of the scholars, they said from the rights of the scholars is intihaz al-fursa bi wujudihim, taking advantage of the fact that they're still alive. Taking advantage of the fact that they're still alive. A person would, he beat himself up, he would be very upset. If some of these senior scholars who are alive today, if they pass and you never had an opportunity to meet them, or there was nothing preventing you except, you're busy with your wealth and your children and so on and so forth, and you just can't get away, and you can never. By people who are busier than you, who have less money than you perhaps, and find a way on a regular basis, at least once a year, to go try to spend some time with the scholars. Try to spend some time with the scholars. And the person who does that, without a doubt, Allah will bless his effort, and perhaps, Allah hopefully will bless his money also. Whatever the case, Shaykh Salih Fawzan said, فَقَدْ وَرَدَ أَنَ الْعِلْمِ يُقْبَضُ فِي آخِرِ الزَّمَانِ فَكَيْفَ يَكُونُ الْقَبْضُ هَلْ مَعْنَاهُ أَنَ الْعِلْمِ يُرْفَعُ. He said, it has been reported that knowledge is going to be taken in the end of times. How is the taking of knowledge and the snatching of knowledge going to occur? Is it going to be lifted entirely from the earth? La, ليس هذا معناه. He said, this is not the meaning, that knowledge is going to be entirely removed from the earth. لأنه ما دام القرآن والسنة موجودين, because so long as the Quran and the Sunnah still exist, فإن العلم باق فيهما, the knowledge is existing within the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet is existent within the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet وَإِنَّمَا يُقْبَضُ الْعِلْمِ بِمَوْتِ الْعُلَمَا الَّذِينَ يَحْمِلُونَهُ. But rather, knowledge is snatched, it is taken by the death of the scholars. Those who carry the knowledge are the bearers of the knowledge. وَيَأْخُذُونَهُ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَالسُّنَّةِ أَخْذًا صَحِيحًا. And they take it correctly from the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet وَإِنَّمَا يُقْبَضُ الْعِلْمُ بِمَوْتِهِمْ. But rather, knowledge is taken by their death, by their deaths. فَلَا يُمْحَ الْعِلْمُ مِنَ الصُّدُورِ. Knowledge is not erased from the hearts in such a way, and collectively from the hearts of the creation. وَلَكِنْ بِمَوْتِ حَمَلَتِهِ. But rather by the death of the carriers of knowledge. فَهُمْ فِي النِّهَايَةِ سَيَمُوتُونَ كَمَا قَالَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى. Ultimately they are all going to die, as Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, exalted be the Most High, said, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Every soul shall taste death. وَهَذِهِ سُنَّةُ اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ فِي خَلْقِهِ. This is the way of Allah, the unchanging way of Allah as regards His creation. وَمَا زَالَ الْأَنْبِيَاءُ وَالْعُلَمَاءُ يَمُوتُونَ. And that the scholars, that the prophets and the scholars will die. وَلَكِنَ الْمُشْكِلَةِ تَكْمُنُ بِتَصَدُّرِ الجُّحَالِ الَّذِينَ يتعاطون مناصب العلماء في الفتيا والتعليم. Rather, the calamity, the problem that is found here is the appearance of ignorant people that try to assume the positions of the scholars as regards fatwa and as regards teaching. فَيُفْتُونَ بِالْجَهْلِ بَعْدَ الْفَرَاغِ الَّذِي تَرَكَهُ رَحِيلُ الْعُلَمَاءِ. And so they give fatwas based upon ignorance after the death of the scholars, after the departure of the scholars leaves a gap for them to slide into. وَفِي هَذَا يَحْسُنُ بِنَا الْقَوْلِ. And for this, and based upon this, or as such, it is appropriate for us to say here, إِنَّ الطَّالِبِ مَهْمَا حَصَّلَ مِنَ الدِّرَاسَاتِ فِي الْجَامِعَاتِ فَهَذَا وَحْدَهُ لَا يَكْفِي. No matter what a student learns in Islamic university, that is not enough. That is not enough. فَهَذَا وَحْدَهُ لَا يَكْفِي وَلَا يَلِيقُ بِصَاحِبِهِ أَنْ يَقْتَصِرَ عَلَيْهِ. It is not befitting for the person who was given that opportunity to restrict himself to it. بَلْ يُوَاصِلُ تَزَوُّدًا مِنَ الْعِلْمِ. But rather he is to increase in supplying himself and equipping himself with knowledge. وَالدِّرَاسَةُ الَّتِي دَرَسَهَا مِفْتَاحٌ وَمَدْخَلٌ إِلَى الْعِلْمِ. And the opportunity you have to study is a key, and it is an entrance way into the knowledge. لأن صاحب الشهادة في النهاية سينسى ما درس. He said, the person who gets a diploma or gets a degree, and he ultimately is going to forget what he studied. He's going to forget what he studied, and the way for him to remember what he studied is to continue learning, to refresh what he has learned. فالأصل في طالب العلم أن يواصل تحصيل العلم والمدارسة والاطلاع ومجالسة العلماء. هذا من ناحية. He said, and so the asl, the origin of the affair as regards the student of knowledge is that he is to continue in his acquisition of his academic acquisition, in his acquiring knowledge, and in his studying, and in his review, and his sitting with the scholars. هذا من ناحية. This is from one direction. ومن الناحية الأخرى. And from another direction, from another aspect, that العلماء يموتون ولا يخلفهم أحد يقوم مقامهم. He said in another aspect, and meaning the first aspect is people who are unprepared, giving fatwa and so on and so forth. He said from the other aspect, the scholars die, and no one is left behind to take their place. كما كان الحال في أول الإسلام. And as used to be the case in the beginning days of Islam. فكان العالم إذا مات خلفه طلاب وتلاميذ وذرية يحملون علمه وينشرونه بين الناس. The scholar would die in the earlier generations, and he would leave students and offspring behind who would carry his knowledge and spread it between the people. لكن في آخر الزمان يفقد هذا. He said, however, in the end of times, towards the end of times, in these latter times, this is absent. This has been lost. فإذا لم يبقى عالم يرجع إليه الناس فماذا يفعلون وهم محتاجون إلى مرجع. So if the people don't have a scholar to refer to, what are they going to do? Are they in need of a reference point concerning their religion? سيتخذون رؤوسا جحالا يجعلونهم في مكان العلماء. They're going to place ignorant leaders at the position that should be only for the ulama. فَإِذَا سُئِلُوا وَأَفْتَوْا بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ فَضَلُّوا فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ وَأَضَلُّوا غَيْرَهُم. When they are asked, then they will give fatwa without knowledge. They will go astray as regards themselves, and they will lead others astray. وَهَذَا خَطَرٌ عَلَى الْأُمَّةِ يَجِبُ أَن نَتَنَبَّهَ لَهُ. And this is a danger, a peril for the ummah, and it is imperative, it is important for us, mandatory for us to be aware. وهذا يؤكد أنه ينبغي على المسلمين أن يهتموا بالعلم ودراسته. And this emphasizes the fact that it is befitting for the Muslims to give proper importance to knowledge and studying it. والعمل على إبقائه لئلا ينسوه بموت العلماء. And acting in order so that the knowledge survives, and implementing the knowledge, or doing rather والعمل على إبقائه, and in doing what it takes to make the knowledge survive and last. لئلا ينسوه بموت العلماء, so that they won't forget the knowledge after the death of the scholars. ولهذا كان المسلمون يهتمون بالتعليم عناية تامة وكانوا يفتحون له المدارس والحلقات. For this reason, the Muslims throughout history have always given a tremendous and complete importance to learning and teaching, and they opened up schools, and they provided any halaqat, or they formed circles for knowledge. وَلَقَدْ تَنَبَّحَ وُلَاةُ الْأُمُورِ إِلَى أَهَمِيَّةِ ذَلِكَ ففتحت المعاهد والكليات وقررت فيها المقررات وأجرى ولي الأمر الإعانات المالية للطلاب. And the rulers of this land have and the rulers of this land have paid attention to the importance of this. And so the universities and colleges for religious studies were opened up, and the curriculums were set, and the financial support was provided for the students. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them tremendously for that. وَهَذِهِ مِيزَةٌ عَظِيمًا لِهَذَا الْبَلَدِ. And this is a tremendous miza, is a tremendous distinction for this land, the land of Tawheed, for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. كُلُّ هَذَا مِنْ أَجْلِ الْحَفَاظِ عَلَى الْعِلْمِ مِنَ الضَّيَاعِ. This is entirely to safeguard knowledge from being lost and squandered. في حين نرى أن في الدول الأخرى التي يوجد فيها دور العلم أن الدراسة تكون على نفقة الطالب. He said, and we find in other lands and in other nations, and where there may be opportunities to study, that the person has to pay out of pocket in order to study. He has to pay out of pocket in order to study. The دولة لا تدفع له شيئا. And the country, the nation, the particular country or state doesn't spend anything for the advancement of religious knowledge. He said, أما في هذه الدولة فقد أجرت للطالب ما يكفي. As for this country, as for this state, then it has, and he spent upon the student that which is sufficient for him. حتى الكتب فطبعها له مجانا. And he even printing books for the students of knowledge free. وهذا من نعم الله سبحانه وتعالى علينا. This is from the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us. والواجب على شباب طلاب العلم أن ينتهزوا هذه الفرصة ويتفرغوا لطلب العلم وتحصيله. It is mandatory, therefore, upon the youth and the students of knowledge to take advantage of this opportunity and to busy themselves with pursuing knowledge and its acquisition. لأنه بموت العلماء قد يتخذ الناس رؤوسا جحالا. Because if the scholars were to die, the people may take ignorant people as their leaders. يجعلونهم مراجع لهم, and he making them points of reference as regards their religion. يحكمونهم في خصوماتهم ويستفتونهم في مشكلاتهم, and he using them to judge in their disputes and seeking fatwa verdicts for them pertaining their mushkilat, pertaining their problems, where this is the prerogative and the duty of the scholars. فماذا يفعلون وهم ليس عندهم علم وقد تبوأوا هذه المناصب ليس أمامهم إلا أن يحتفظوا بهذه المناصب. So what are they going to do if they don't have knowledge, or they have placed themselves in these positions? And they have made a career out of this. They have made a career out of this. They have put themselves in these positions, and they need to safeguard these positions that they have. فَيُفْتُوا بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ. So they give fatwa without knowledge. وَيَقُولُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. And they say about Allah what they don't know. فَيَضِلُّونَ وَيُضِلُّونَ غَيْرَهُم. And so they go astray and they lead others astray. وَهَذَا الْحَدِيث مِنْ عَلَامَاتِ النُّبُوَّةِ. This hadith is from the signs of the prophethood, of the truthfulness of the prophethood Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. فإن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أخبر عن أشياء ستقع في المستقبل. As the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم informed about things that would happen in the future. وقد كان الأمر كما أخبر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. And the affair would take place exactly as he informed عليه الصلاة والسلام. ولكن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم يريد بهذا الخبر التحذير من إهمال العلم. But the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, by informing us of this, and he intends thereby for us, and to warn us against neglecting knowledge. It's the purpose of it. And the hadith of fitna, the scholars, they say, aren't just to inform us that fitna is going to occur, so when it happens, be like, oh, that's what it says here. It's fitna, right? Prophet ﷺ, he said, بَادِرُوا بِالْعَمَالِ فِتَنًا كَقِطَعِ لَيْلٍ مُظْلِمٍ. Rush to do good deeds. Fitna is going to happen like darkness descending from the night. What's the beginning of the hadith? Rush to do good deeds, because the nature of fitna is that it impedes people from doing good, right? And the purpose of the hadith that mentioned the coming of fitna is to motivate us to action. Okay, the scholars are going to die, so what does that drive you to do? Right? There's not a single issue, the scholars, they say, in the religion as regards the akhbar, as regards information about Allah and the last day and the signs of the hour and these sorts of things, except that the reason that we have been informed about it is to drive us to some sort of action. Right? There's no theoretics in Islam. There's not just, a bunch of data out there that's just deep. Oh, that's deep. Look what it says, right? No, it's supposed to motivate us to action. So it's clear. What are we supposed to do? Take advantage of the presence of the scholars. He said, so the Prophet ﷺ wanted to warn us against neglecting knowledge and to encourage us to study and to direct ourselves, devote ourselves to pursuing knowledge. وَفِيهِ تَحْذِيرُ وُلَاةِ الْأُمُورِ مِنَ أَنْ يُسْنِدُ الْمَنَاصِبِ الدِّينِيَّةِ لِلْجُحَالِ. And this is a warning likewise for the people of authority in the Muslim lands, or even people of authority over their masajid, people, I don't want to say authority, people of responsibility, right? You say authority, we go back to some of the old time stuff, and bay'at and bay'ah and all that sort of stuff, right? And people with responsibility over the masajid. People with responsibility, if you have a masjid, if you have a school, so on and so forth, to be careful who you let speak in your school, especially in these days. As our brother Aboo Suhailah Umar used to say, that hanging out with the Hizbis, it might catch you a case. Rather quickly, he said, وَعَلَى عَلَيْهِمْ أَنْ يَخْتَارُوا أَفْضَلَ مَا يَجِدُونَهُ لِهَذِهِ الْمَنَاصِبِ. And it's upon them to choose and select the best people that they could find for these positions. لِأَلَّا يَقَعَ الْمَحْظُورُ الَّذِي أَسْلَفْنَا بَيَانَهُ. So that the affairs that we have been warned against will not occur that have been previously mentioned. وَلِهَذَا قَالَ تَعَالَى. And for this reason, Allah, or as such, Allah Ta'ala exalted be the Most High. He says in closing, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُكُمْ أَن تُؤَدُّوا الْأَمَانَاتِ إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهَا. That Allah has ordered you to render the trust to their proper recipients, to their people that are suitable for them. وَالْمَنَاصِبُ الْعِلْمِيَّةِ هِيَ أَعْظَمُ الْأَمَانَاتِ. And positions connected to religious knowledge are from the greatest trust and responsibilities. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أن يغفر لنا ويرحمنا وأن يجنبنا القول عليه بلا علم. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us and have mercy upon us and to protect us from speaking about Him without knowledge. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على